there's been a lot of cool stuff that's been released for the Horus Heresy 2.0, and I've spent a lot of it looking at the various models, looking at the different tanks, the different dreadnoughts, and thinking to myself, I could get into this. I could really start an army for Horus Heresy, and I think I could stick with it if I really wanted to, but the problem is that I can't fully commit, because the faction I really want to play, the faction I really want to commit to, and really want to create just a full force of absolute freaks and weirdos, is not currently receiving the same treatment as the Legions, because what I want is one of these. I want a Mechanicum Vulturax Stratos-Automata. I want this flying, floating, weird thing that looks absolutely quality. I want one of these, but right now one of these is £88, which is quite a bit of money, and the problem is that I don't just want one of these. I'd really like some Thalax cohort as well, because these have got a personality that is totally different to the Legion stuff, to the Imperial Guard, to the rest of the Horus Heresy. The Mechanicum stuff is so completely individual and unique in ways that nothing else in that setting are. This is a model range where, even by my own standards of not really caring whether I win or lose, just enjoying having a game and enjoying assembling and painting stuff, I couldn't care less if you automatically lose just by placing them on the table. I want to field these, but the current cost of running a Mechanicum army for Horus Heresy, it's just not even a consideration. Thing is that right now, if you really wanted to, you could make an entire Legion force in Horus Heresy, in plastic, and yes, it would be expensive, of course it would, it's Games Workshop, it's all expensive, but it's not so expensive as to feel unreasonable. Once you're into that ecosystem, I feel like you kind of get used to the sting, you get used to the fact that you know you're going to be outlaying a significant chunk of money, but despite being quite used to that at this stage, and having bought quite a few Forge World items in my time, the idea of doing a full army of Mechanicum is still way too daunting in terms of the financial outlay. I do find myself wondering what they're going to do for Horus Heresy next, like what unit they're going to release in plastic, what tank they're going to release in plastic. Are they going to branch out and do some of the more interesting esoteric things? Are they going to slowly make it so that Games Workshop is just making the vast majority of Horus Heresy models? Is Forge World going to slowly shrink and it's just going to be the super specialist stuff that they do, but almost everything else is covered by Games Workshop in plastic? I keep thinking to myself, well, that would make the most sense. Obviously, the cheaper something is and the more widely distributed it is, the easier it is for people to get into that product and get into that system. And I think that has been proven with the Horus Heresy releases. It feels like far more people are talking about Horus Heresy now than have been for quite a while. And don't even get me started with how many people I know bought the Age of Darkness box when previously they just didn't care about Marines. The fact is though that despite all of that excellent growth and all that really cool stuff that they're doing to allow Horus Heresy to expand and be more accessible and be more approachable, they still haven't done it for the one faction that I feel like I could really sink my teeth into like none other. Weirdly, it wasn't until the Legion stuff started being released in plastic that I really started properly staring at different Mechanicum pages on Forge World and thinking to myself, I would absolutely have quite a chunk of those. They have successfully made me excited about Horus Heresy, but for the wrong faction, because the thing that I want, I don't think is going to be plastic. It would be absolutely amazing if they were. Genuinely, I would love it if they were plastic. If suddenly the next big drop for Horus Heresy was Mechanicum, that we started getting these creepy little weirdos showing up, available in plastic, cheaper to buy, easier to work with, all of the boxes ticked. But I do worry that actually this is going to be one army that doesn't really translate, that doesn't get shifted over. And in a way, it's like a two-pronged worry. On the one hand, I'm kind of worried that this is just going to be resin forever and therefore always feel a bit unobtainable, always feel a little bit out of reach in terms of how much I'd really be willing to spend on getting into this particular army. On the other hand, the worry is that they do start releasing this stuff in plastic, and I can get hold of something like a Triarus armoured conveyor for less than £115, because then the damage could actually become real. Then all financial responsibility could go out the window, and I could end up buying the things that I really want but can't quite justify right now. Because let's be honest, I think that is something that all of us can relate to. The idea that if they just made this thing that I really want, I would buy it. But then you know full well that if they made this thing that you really want, you would end up buying it and it would still be expensive, just not £145 expensive in the case of the Karaknos assault tank, which, by the way, I absolutely love. At the end of the day, I think the Mechanicum has got so much character, they have so much uniqueness, there is so much going on there that you just do not see anywhere else in the Horus Heresy, not just because the Heresy is of course mostly focused around the Legions, but also because the Mechanicum and in 40k the Mechanicus are just inherently weird. They have such a diversity of design and weird technology going on that I can't help but love them, and I both wish that this entire range would shift to plastic, and also worry that if it does, I might be in severe trouble. Except for these, which I'll never buy, because they look silly. Oh, is that some controversy I can smell? I'm curious though, if these all became plastic, well, not these specifically, the whole line, would that tip you over the edge? Would you end up with a Mechanicum army? Would you do what I would do, which is just lose control and buy all the things? Is there anything else that, like, you won't get, primarily because you know that it would be ruinously expensive, but you really, really want, and you're just waiting for that excuse? Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, so click it if you like, don't click if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you'd like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.